Let's also not forget those benefits that are so fantastic that everyone knows who fought for them.
Who fought for those?
How did those benefits come about?
Right. Management didn't just give those freely.
No, they did not.
As much as I would like to think that they're good people and they would give those.
No, of course not. Bosses are always bossing. Listen, it doesn't matter. But I'll tell you, your union fought for those benefits. And that is why for many years, the federal government has been such a great place to work.
Niki, it is so good to sit down with you and talk about everything that we have to face right now and some of our priorities at AFGE. But first, I would like to start by you introducing yourself and a little bit about your background.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course.
So my name is Niki Omanidze. My background is actually, I've worked in 4 unions before AFGE. I was a Teamster and I also worked at SEIU, NAIUNA. I've been working in public sector actually for the past 5 years. So while I've done a few private campaigns, mostly I've been working with public sector employees. A year and a half ago, we were able to, a little bit more now, 2 years ago, we were able to win collective bargaining rights in the city of Richmond for Richmond City employees. It was incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, first time in 47 years. And so we're hoping to, with a new governor, we're hoping that that will extend to everywhere else. Because obviously, I don't know if you remember, the collective bargaining that was passed was only for each locality to pass their own collective bargaining, so whether they want it or not. So Richmond was able to do it, Alexandria, Fairfax, Loudoun, but there's quite a few places that still don't have that. And then I joined AFGE to continue fighting on behalf of workers, and in this case, for the federal workforce, thinking this was going to be a stable, calm job. Little did I know.
Yes, unfortunately, there's nothing stable or calm about what we're facing right now.
Absolutely not.
So why don't you go into a little bit about your top priorities as an LPO and kind of what drives you right now?
Yeah. So first, I just want to mention the most impactful thing that happened to our union and to our members. The majority of our membership lost collective bargaining rights. The president wrote an executive order saying that the VA and really the majority of our members, the only ones that are really left out is BOP and Social Security, but EPA, the VA, DOD, again, maybe 75% or more of our members were put under a national security umbrella, saying that it is national security, that they need to follow these rules. And
the housekeepers.
Exactly. Exactly. The nurses, the social workers, the people answering the hotline for vets.
Yes, that's national security.
Right. And so they took away collective bargaining rights, meaning that they voided our collective bargaining agreements across all of our locals and said that you all no longer have the rights you fought for this many years and have had that have protected federal employees. So what does that mean? First of all, I would like to say that it does not mean you no longer have a union.
Right.
Just like I spoke about public sector employees in Virginia, some finally getting collective bargaining rights. There have been unions that have been representing public sector workers for years without collective bargaining. They still can request representation. They can still help with, grievances. Now, it may not go to the national board. And now, unfortunately, actually, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but the agency that takes care of grievances is down to 5 employees when they need 100.
Wow.
We'll talk a little bit about that. But so unfortunately, it will be harder, but that does not mean your union is not going to fight for you. We will continue to do that. Some places, lunch and learns have been canceled, which is when union stewards and union reps come in to talk to membership. Some haven't, for the leaders and the local presidents. file the grievances, write down everything that's going on, make sure it's business as usual. We do have a lawsuit, of course, that's pending. We have so far won all of our lawsuits. That is why they went after us and you. And we're going to keep on fighting until we win, because we will.
And we're not going to stop until we
Absolutely
until
not.
we do.
Of course not.
So we're preparing right now for a short-term win.
Yes.
You know, so some of these lawsuits that you're talking about, and
That's
then
right.
the long-term win. Those are the only two options.
Exactly.
Is win
That's right.
or win.
Win or win. And that's what we will continue doing. Again, that is why you all are being targeted, is because we have pushed their buttons and we've been winning in court. Because most of the things they're doing are illegal, and we do live in America.
Well, and that's another good point too, is because we're essentially doing what we are called to do. What we are
Exactly.
responsible for doing is fighting for your rights within the workplace
Right.
and making it a fair place to work.
Exactly.
We were only doing that, and they came after us.
Exactly. Exactly. And let's not forget that 30% of AFG membership is veterans that served this country, that served in the military, and then went to go get stable, secure jobs that are, even though lower paying than the private sector,
Right.
they're stable, you have good benefits, and, you know, you're able to serve your country again. Like, you continue to do that. You know, a lot of politicians say they care about vets. I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, prove it.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, put your money where your mouth is. If you care about vets, then why are you disassembling their protections? Why are you reducing staff at already understaffed VA hospitals? And it's an ongoing attack. But again, we are not just being reactive. We're trying to be very proactive.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, I think it's important to address that there are plenty of ways to save
Yes.
and cut without impacting veteran care.
Absolutely.
You know, and the main concern right now is what we're seeing, the people that we're talking to, the probationary employees that were terminated. Most of these, if not all of these positions, were important positions that cared directly for, or in some way supported care for, the veterans.
Yes.
So what my recommendation is to speak to the people who are actually doing the work to figure out like some of the best areas that we may need to, you know, but like you said, to your point, cutting positions at facilities that are already short and already suffering, and the veteran care is already suffering from that, it's probably not the best place to cut.
Absolutely. Additionally, since the 70s, our population has grown by millions, and yet the federal workforce has actually gotten smaller and has not grown at all. And there's a reason this is the issue, I think, for a lot of folks that maybe are not in this work and have never worked for the federal government. I think a lot of people don't understand who the employees of the federal government are. You know, there's this idea that, you know, our members are rich bureaucrats driving around in Lamborghinis, eating caviar. I'm not sure where that comes from, because again, the public sector, especially in the federal government, they are paid a third less than private sector employees. This includes scientists. This includes researchers. This includes people that have higher degrees, and they go to serve their country because they care about it, and again, because they want stability and benefits for their families, which every worker deserves. For some reason, that's gotten away from us too. You are entitled, and it is a right for you to receive healthcare. It should be. In most countries it is. It's not here. You know, you should have access to healthcare, to water, to clean air. These are all givens. And for some reason, really corporate interests have convinced us that this is some sort of gift, and maybe it's not your right, but it is. And it is also your right as an employee of the federal government, when you've given yourself to this country, to be rewarded, to be respected back, just like you have done.
Right.
Right. You also mentioned some of the things that we're doing, and that we are being proactive.
Yeah. So let's talk about the importance of political organization right now, and why that matters. Because right now, that's like one of the most important things that we have. You know, my thing right now is we have litigation,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to keep our union moving forward.
Absolutely.
We need communication to be able to spread the word on this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, this is the outcome.
That's right.
Let's talk about the legislative piece of that.
Let's do it. I love that part. That's my part. So the fact that we are in the media all the time is very important. You all, our members, whoever's listening to this, and if you're part of, if you work for the federal government, thank you for everything you're doing. It's working. Being in the zeitgeist and keeping media's attention for this long is very impressive. It never happens.
Right.
I mean, wars, decimation of countries stay for maybe 2 weeks and then we forget about it.
Yeah.
This has been nonstop across the country. Small little cities like Roanoke and Richmond and Norfolk are getting attention. There was a rally at our TSA brothers and sisters in Norfolk, and they were in The Guardian, on the front page of The Guardian, which is a British newspaper. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, and I will tell you, across the world, they're covering us even more than the American media is. It's very important to keep pressure on society, really, to care about this issue. And so getting out there, continuing to speak to the media, continuing to do press releases, continuing to do statements. For all those folks that lost their jobs, call me or call, if you know your media folks, call them. Give them an interview. We will help you write an op-ed. We have lobbyists and a comms department that can help you put it all together. You can write it out yourself and they can make it, sharp and beautiful, like they know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
These messages are really important because, again, people are paying attention. Put it on social media. Put it on your Instagram. Do a TikTok dance. It doesn't matter how you do it. Keep doing it because it is working.
Yes.
Additionally, the AFL-CIO, which we are a part of course, the American Federation of Labor, they've been helping our brothers and sisters in other unions, the USW, UAW, so steel workers, mechanics, airline workers. Pretty much all of these incredible unions are willing and ready to help. So reach out to your local office, see what events they're putting on. Make sure you're subscribed to their, to their newsletters so that you have updates about the events that are happening. There's some very, very involved labor councils, and they're doing everything from writing postcards to calling their Congress people to busting down doors. And, you can choose what role you want to play in this. Everyone has a different role. You can just make a couple of phone calls. You can send a couple of texts. Or, we can go do a sit-in at Mr. Klein's office, and I'll tell you why later.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the details of that, because I really like giving everyone across the spectrum ways that they can get involved.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this a little bit later on as well. But like one of the first things that you can do, and people are really tired of us talking about it probably, is step one is e-dues.
Yes.
Signing up for e-dues. Okay, so we can touch on that and then go through the different options that people can do to get involved.
Sure.
Whether it be, like you mentioned, just sending a simple text, signing a petition, sending a letter, a postcard, all the way up to like getting boots on the ground.
Absolutely. So first I'd like to say, go to afg.com/AFGstrong. That is a toolkit that our comms department has developed, and it's really helpful. It's got talking points. It's got lobbying do's and don'ts. It's got leave behinds, all kinds of things to fight back. So I would recommend that. But
and I'll put that down in the description. It's afge.org/AFGestrong.
Yes.
Yep.
So the first part is actually going to be mostly for the leaders in the local unions, because again, as this collective bargaining EO went down, unfortunately, they got rid of payroll deduction,
right?
Which means that you will no longer be a member in good standing, and you will lose your union membership if you do not switch over to e-dues. And I know you all have heard e-dues. Well, I'm going to say it again. E-dues, e-dues, and e-dues. The danger there also is not just like, oh, we need you to get on here so we get money. First of all, yes, we do need the money. That's how unions operate. It's an organization.
Right. We have to be able to fund,
lobbyists
legal.
cost money. Lawyers cost money.
Right.
All of these things cost money. I mean, the signs that we're sending, all of this costs money. And that's how an organization functions. And for those leaders that are listening to this, know that we now have a website that will also drop here where you can create a QR code specifically for your local. So it's not going to take you anywhere else but your specific local. So people can just scan that QR code and then boom, it takes them to the sign up page. They sign up and it's easy.
Yes. And that one is afge.org/make the switch.
Yeah, very nice. Prepared. Very nice. Yes, exactly. For the leaders, what we very much recommend. So on top of getting rid of payroll deduction, they're also getting rid of official time and use of office space. Utilize broad stripes as much as possible. And we do have training now available, both for e-dues and broad stripes. That is, there's links on the AFG Strong website. Make sure you get all communications. Have a Gmail or something account set up that has nothing to do, if you don't have one already, that has nothing to do with your government website. So make sure that you get all the information about your local off, the government servers, get it onto a drive, of any kind. Talk to your local civil society allies and your AFL-CIO affiliate allies. There's lots of union offices. They're willing to share. They're willing to rent some spaces out for much cheaper. There's lots of CWA and Teamster halls, and they let us use their spaces because, again, we're all in this together.
That's great.
So those are some things for the leaders to do. For everybody else, and this also includes non-members, get your grandma, get your cousin, get your brother, get anyone, who cares about this involved in some simple ways. First of all, call Congress. Call specifically your Congress people, but then also call some of the Purple Wall folks, which are moderate Republicans. They are Republican because we are a nonpartisan organization. We don't care what party you are, what hat you wear. We care if you support federal employees. So if you are for workers, we are for you. There have been plenty of Republicans that we have endorsed and given money to. Unfortunately, there's less and less that support labor. And that happens across the board. There's corporate folks in both parties, in all parties, everywhere. And so, again, we are for workers. We want to make sure that collective bargaining rights, people's livelihoods, and, workers in general as a whole are protected.
I think that's a very important distinction.
Yes.
A very important point because so many times I see the emails.
Yeah.
We get the finger pointed at us for only siding a certain way.
Right.
Or telling someone how to vote. If you look at all of our content that we pushed out as far as the National VA Council, we put out campaigns for voting pro-labor.
That's right.
So regardless of party affiliation, we are here for the employee and ultimately the veteran. And so that's where our interests lie. Exactly.
And so we are happy to support candidates, again, that support us. And we will. And, also contribute to the Political Action Committee. That's PAC. And that's the money that we give to these folks to sort of grease the wheels. Without that, unfortunately, things don't work as well. We need to be in it. And so that is one way that we can affect a little bit of change in, the legislative arena. In Virginia, we have elections every single year. We are a political state. So affecting some of those is very important. And then let's not forget the midterms. There are plenty of seats on both sides that are not safe. And they're not safe because these people are not responding to their constituents and to their fears and to their needs. And so if they don't seem to care about the people that they represent, then they shouldn't be in that position of power. And the way we affect and help either the people that do care about us or, the people that want to run that do. Also, please run for office. Everyone, run for local office. That's why we need PAC.
If you're pro-labor.
If you're pro-labor, of course. That's right. Do we have a lot of anti-labor people listening to this?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, so let's expand a little bit on PAC.
Yes.
And the importance of that, and then take us into some of the legislative priorities. I'd also like to, if we can, provide it today. If not, we can link it down in the description in the future. Maybe a list of some people that AFGE would support. Is that something that we have? Or we can provide, or no? Do we need to cut this part out?
No. So unfortunately, as it stands right now, we don't have anyone on the Republican side that's standing up for federal employees.
Okay.
I will say Jen Kiggins, who's District 2 in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, and Representative Whitman in District 1, which is around Richmond, Chesterfield, and Fredericksburg. They just recently signed on to a letter sent by Eugene Vindman, District 7, and a few other Democratic representatives to the White House, speaking about USDA cuts and the detrimental impact on not only on the workforce but on Americans who like to
food
eat,
supply.
they eat food.
Right.
So that kind of applies to all of us.
Everyone.
Yes, pretty much. I know Ozempic has a stronghold on this
Don't
country, but
knock Ozempic.
No, I'm not knocking it at all. It's brilliant. Although again, access for people.
Yes,
because
wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, it would. So they did sign on, and this is the first time they've signed on to anything to do with federal employee rights, and that's wonderful. We'd like to continue to push them and ask them to support these workers that do so much, especially in the state. Virginia has 145,000 federal employees, not including federal contractors and not including active military personnel or their families. If you include all those numbers, it more than doubles.
Right.
That's a lot of voting power, number one, but it's also really detrimental. Cutting these people's jobs, their livelihoods, putting them on unemployment, having them in chaos and their families in chaos and their lives uprooted is not good for, if you take out the humanity part, it's not good for the economic situation in Virginia. There was just a fiscal study done in Fairfax, and they said that the effects of the job losses and the federal cuts that are happening will be more detrimental now than what happened during COVID. So the economic impact during COVID is going to be less than what's happening now. That's huge for our state. That is terrible. And our state has been growing and bringing in money and creating jobs. And so it seems like a reversal. Our governor currently does not care. Our lieutenant governor, who is running for governor, was just responding to a video about how, now federal employees feel like the rest of us. Now they know what it's like to get fired, because doesn't that happen to everyone? And also, what are they complaining about? That's unconscionable. That is not what we want to hear from a leader, from a leader of this state that has so many federal employees, has so many bases, has so many active military personnel, so many vets. Honestly, vets that
probably one of the most populated states.
Yes, it is.
Virginia and California. I would say
Yes,
too.
they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. And so, again, we'll support the folks that support us, and we'll go very hard against the ones that don't.
That's a pretty clear message.
Yeah. So speaking of that, actually, I would like to just very briefly speak about two bills.
Yes, please.
One bill is a great bill. The other bill is a slap in the face.
Okay.
So let's talk about the great bill first.
Sure.
That is HR 2550. We ask you to please call Congress, 817-904-8624. They'll put you through to your representative and to your senator. Please call them to say that they should support this bill and sign on as co-sponsors. Representative Jared Golden of Maine is the one that introduced the bill, and it is the bill is called the Save America's Workforce Act,
Yes.
and it talks about the fact that federal employees do a lot and they need their collective bargaining rights and they can't just get fired willy-nilly, and let's make sure we support federal employees. That's kind of what it says. I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Sure.
That's a great bill. We don't, there are some, and it's wonderful, Republican sponsors. We need more. We want our Virginian Republicans to stand up for us. And I think that they would. Some of them. One of the ones that won't is, unfortunately, Mr. Ben Klein from the Virginia 6th, right over here in the Roanoke-Salem area. He's Congressional District 6. He just, on April 7th, introduced a bill. It's H.R. 9191. Please also, when you make the call, tell them, say no, vote no on H.R. 9191. So this bill is called the No Union Time on Taxpayers' Dime. Cute little title. Essentially what they're saying is that this is a bill. So even though they've done it through the executive order, we have a lawsuit against the executive order. So they know that everything they're doing is illegal. They may not be able to get it through because, again, the courts have been on our side. So this is another way to go about it. It's a bill. And obviously if it passes, it will become law. If everyone remembers that, the civics lesson. That's right. The civics lesson. That's right. So, this is what Mr. Klein has to say about federal employees and VA workers and Social Security workers and food inspectors. This legislation restores accountability to the federal workforce, ensuring that taxpayer dollars are not wasted, so your salaries are waste. Taxpayers shouldn't be footing the bill for federal employees to conduct union business. It's their responsibility to figure it out. Public funds should serve the American people and not private union interests. The union is you and me and your coworkers in your workplace. You all are Americans. And it is absolutely reprehensible that he is saying that over 2 million people living in this country, serving this country, 30% of whom who are veterans, he's not even considering you all American people, really. He's separating you all as if you are leeches on the federal budget. By the way, federal employee salaries and the entire system that goes into, paying the benefits, it is less than 11% of the entire federal budget. 11% to pay 2 million people. It seems like a pretty good bargain. And we do agree that cuts need to be made, like you said earlier. Absolutely. We have a lot of ideas. Our workers they're the experts in their workplace. They work in these places. We've got Social Security offices that are sitting empty that need to be closed. Yet the ones that are being closed are the ones that are servicing older folks and people that need help and people with disabilities. So that's what Mr. Klein thinks of you all. And I don't think that's right. And I don't think you all should think that either. So please make your voices heard. Please make sure to call him. You don't have to be a constituent of his. You can just call him even if you don't live in Virginia, but even if you don't live in District 6, please call him and let him know what you think about what he thinks of you all and the hard work you do. I also would like to add that the statistics they're using are from 2016, so 9 years old, and 2019, 6 years old. That's where they're at. So we're not even using statistics that apply to 2024 or 2025 at all. They also call it one of the largest examples of theft, and that there's a widespread abuse of official time. That is a lie, and I would argue that is slander. In America, and there's so many studies, and you could just look it up, the largest form of theft that exists is employer theft from employees of work time. So not paying them overtime, having people work in excess and not having their hours cut.
We have lawsuits against this very thing.
We sure do. And that is actually the largest theft that happens in the United States. It's employers stealing from their employees. So maybe we should send those studies to Mr. Klein, or maybe he purposefully doesn't care, but we do. We speaking to what has been done, there was a Social Security employee that testified in front of Congress on April 1st. And she's from New York. And she was describing the fact that the cuts that they have decided to do in Social Security will not just be impacting, of course, the federal employees themselves, but it is impacting everyday Americans. She testified that the policy change, so what they're doing is they're changing operational procedures that are creating obstacles for the public to access their benefits. They force people, and many of them are older folks. They don't necessarily know how to use technology very well, or computers and things like that. And they also, travel will be hard and restricted. So they will have to travel. It will force them to travel to severely already understaffed field offices. What they have done is they've implemented a two-step identification process, which alone. So that's the only thing you can do. So that means individuals who have trouble logging in online, after 3 hours of waiting on the phone, you may or may not get an answer. And if you do not get an answer, you will not be verified. So now, in order to get verification of your account, you have to travel to a local office and verify your identity in person. This policy change alone will result in 75,000 to 80,000 more in-person visits at already understaffed and overwhelmed Social Security offices. We just filed a lawsuit for the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service. It is a very small agency. It's independent. Most people don't even know what it does. Well, this agency is the agency that's responsible for ensuring that employees follow through on their obligations to their employees in contract negotiations, making sure that everything goes according to plan. This is why they shut it down. 93% of the staff has been placed on leave. The field offices are all closed, and the office went from needed to have 100. It was still understaffed. Now there's 5. Now there are 5 people working in, I don't know out of what office, to take care of the contracts and the grievances and all of the, labor procedures for the entire country. 5 people. 5. USDA is no longer inspecting food. Most of the inspectors have been fired. This is not making headlines as much as it should. Your meat's not being inspected. Your fruits are not being inspected. Your vegetables are not being inspected. That's what the federal government does. NIOSH has been decimated. Most people don't know what it is. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. Let's think about what that is. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. For workers of all, not labor, everybody. Mm-hmm. So if you work, this agency was responsible for making sure that you're safe and healthy. Decimated. Most employees have been fired. Offices have been closed. They are not able to do their jobs anymore. OSHA being disassembled. OSHA is another part of that make sure that, safety procedures and standards are followed in the workplace. Decimated. MSHA. MSHA is the Mine Safety and Health Administration. A miner passed away in West Virginia because of a lack of safety equipment and safety regulation in his mine. The Mine Safety and Health Administration is now delaying the implementation of new safety regulations. And people are suffering in real time. And these are miners, these are coal miners in West Virginia and all over, in the border of Virginia. These are folks that work really hard. And they require, it's hard labor and it's dangerous. They require safety protections. This is not for them. This is for their bosses to be able to exploit these workers. And we want to make sure that stops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So these are just some examples of some of the horrific things that have happened. They're going to continue happening. And that is why it's so important to do these actions, to call your congressperson, to send them letters. Again, reach out to me. I'm happy to get you all the materials you need. Also, attend a rally. We have events happening everywhere. Plan one. I'll help you. We got to stay in the limelight. We got to keep fighting. It's not easy. I know everyone's tired. But if we don't keep fighting, no one will. And we are not just fighting for our jobs. We are not just fighting for other unions. We're fighting for the American people. There's so much stuff happening that's making our democracy seem like it's fading away. Union members who are legal American residents are being arrested, kidnapped off the street, and taken to facilities where we don't know where they are, disappeared. Our brothers and sisters at SEIU were kidnapped off the street. Our brothers and sisters at UAW were kidnapped off the street. It's not okay. And we want to make sure that we continue fighting so that we remain the America that we all love and the America that so many of these folks served to protect.
Mm-hmm. I think you raised a very good point too. Some of the accusations about why we've been so vocal, why we've taken to the streets and protested or joined rallies, called Congress. They turned their automatic voicemails on or whatever, so
they sure did.
We couldn't even leave messages anymore. So one of the accusations is, well, we're just crying because we're trying to save our jobs or we're just, whatever. And yes, just like the union needs money, so do we.
Absolutely.
But that is not why we are doing it at this point. We are fighting for, like you said, the American people.
Exactly.
We are putting our veterans first because they deserve the treatment that we've been giving them at the VA, which is proven to be better than the private sector in almost every study that you examine. So we are doing it for them.
That's right.
That is why we mobilize. That is why we organize. And that is why we do what we do. That's why people join the union. You touched on it earlier as well. People who work in the federal government, the federal sector, make less than what they could do in the private sector.
Absolutely.
People take pay cuts to be able to serve. Doctors, nurses, they have served. They are veterans themselves. They choose to provide their care at the VA because they can relate to their patient.
Exactly.
And that's another way that they can further continue their service to this country. So they're willing to take those pay cuts. They can go out into the private sector and make more money.
Absolutely.
But that's not why they do it.
Exactly. And we will be losing so many incredible employees, not only because of the tax cuts, but potential employees. If we are going after academia, if we are going after scientists, if we are cutting, we cut the entire research department in Raleigh, in the Research Triangle in North Carolina of the EPA, the entire research arm, 4,500 people gone. These are scientists. They're researching bioterrorism and threats to actual national security and to our lives and our safety. They are cancer researchers at the NIH. America has been leading. We don't lead a lot of things, actually, unfortunately. We have so much money, but we're not number one in a lot. We are number one, or were, in biotech and the medical field. So advancement in the medical field. And people, I think, misunderstand. They think it is the big pharma that's doing it. Actually, 82% of big pharma's big, discoveries were discovered through NIH workers. Yes. So it's work that was expanded upon by the private industry, but worked on in the public industry, in the public sector. And that is because the government funds a lot of research. All of the groundbreaking cancer research, Alzheimer's research. In the last 20 years, we pretty much got rid of HIV. I think people forget about how big that was and how, maybe time goes by. We forget things that happened, 15 minutes ago. But the AIDS epidemic killed thousands, hundreds of thousands of people here in the United States and millions across the country. Now you can, keep your HIV levels to undetectable. That happened recently, and that happened through public sector investment into science.
Right.
And we stopped that. We stopped being the leader. Scientists don't want to come work here. Scientists don't want to help develop anything because they don't know if their jobs are safe. They don't know if they're stable. This federal employment used to be lower paying, but stable and with good benefits. Now they're trying to cut the benefits, get rid of everyone. This doesn't make sense for our country, not even just for the workforce. It doesn't make sense for us to be the leaders across the world.
Yeah. And, those positions were highly sought after as well. We were attracting some of the best and brightest in their fields because of those benefits, because not necessarily the pay, but it was stable and it was excellent benefits.
Absolutely.
So, the common I guess, stereotype, if you will, is I'm going to go work for the federal government.
Mhm.
And, that's incentive enough for some people.
Absolutely. Let's also not forget those benefits that are so fantastic that everyone
fought for
knows
them?
who fought for them.
Who fought for those?
How did those benefits come about?
Right. Management didn't just give those freely.
No, they did not.
As much as I would like to think that
Sure.
they're good people and they would give those.
No, of course not. Bosses are always bossing.
Right.
Listen, it doesn't matter. But I'll tell you, your union fought for those benefits. And that is why, for many years, the federal government has been such a great place to work, because you do have those benefits and because they've been unionized for a very long time. Ask the private sector workers how they feel. The ones that have, by the way, 30% less pay, 60% more accidents, and the quality of work is less, because unions improve the quality of work. That is, it's shown in studies across the board. Employees are happier and they work harder. That's just the fact. If your employees are miserable and they can't go see a doctor, and like Walmart, who's healthcare we subsidize as taxpayers, there's plenty of money to be found. We understand. We agree. Our members agree. There is waste and fraud and abuse in the federal government. It is not the workers at the VA that are doing it. It is not the workers at the Social Security Administration. It is not the scientists at NIH and EPA, or the folks at USAID that serve their country that just saw it be completely gutted, or the folks at Peace Corps that I did. For example, I was in the Peace Corps. Our offices were just gutted by Doge. A friend of mine messaged me and said they're going through tearing down posters of children across the world that American citizens have joined to help and to spread American democracy and culture. It's an incredible, American program being gutted. So again, it doesn't make sense. We'll help you find the fraud. We'll show you where it is.
Right.
Ask us. Ask these.
We are willing
workers.
to work alongside of you. And that's another message that I would like to spread, is that we are here.
Yes.
We are willing to come alongside and work with you and help you find some of these things.
Absolutely. Ask any of these workers. They know where the fraud is. They know where the waste is. They know this office doesn't need to exist because it has literally nobody and one person. Absolutely. It's done with a chainsaw as opposed to a scalpel. And we need to shut that chainsaw off, because it is, again, detrimental to the workforce, detrimental to our state, but also detrimental to Americans. All, where are we at now? 380 million or more. It's going to impact every single person. It's going to impact your grandmother who can't get her Social Security check. It's going to impact your aunt who served in the military. It's going to impact your public school where your child goes, because now they don't have Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV funding. And those schools have been cut. So now there's no after school programs, and now there's no free lunch. It's not good. And again, if it was just about the workers, but it is literally about every single American. And of course the workers, and at the VA, it's vets, helping vets. Right. It's inhuman. These folks serve their country. They joined and they fought in wars and in conflicts, and they sacrificed themselves. And now not only are we trying to fire them, we're trying to prevent them from getting care. It's reprehensible.
Yes. And that is probably one of the largest voices, the most heard voice right now is the voice of the veteran. And that's essentially what this podcast is all about. It's trying to be your voice, be the voice of the veteran, and share the concerns that we have, because at the end of the day, that's who we're fighting for. Exactly.
They fought for us, so we're going to fight for them. The union is nothing without its members. The union is you and I together fighting collectively on behalf of our brothers and sisters. And so, have your coworkers join the union. Again, now is the time to join. Your rights are being stripped away. Join your union. Switch to e-dues. This is for vets. This is for people, again, that sacrifice themselves. It's for your coworkers. It's for your family. And it's for, your neighbors. Honestly, this is what the fight is. It may seem like it's singular, but it is connected to everything that's going on. And we live in this country because we love America, we love this country, and we love democracy. If we wanted to live in a non-democratic place, we would have gone somewhere else. That's why we are here. And as someone from an authoritarian country that has seen the transition from semi-democracy to from authoritarianism to semi-democracy back to authoritarianism, believe me, it's not a good way to exist. We want the freedoms that we fought for, that were established 300 years ago. And we're going to continue to fight for those.
That's excellent. Excellent points.
Please make your voices heard. Don't let them distract you. Don't let them beat you down. We are fighting. We're going to continue fighting, and you're not in it alone.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Niki, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.